Welcome to the wealthy path, where smarter choices lead to stronger finances. Most people think you need to earn more to save more. But what if I told you that cutting just 5 everyday expenses helped me double my savings? Without getting a raise or side hustle, these changes were simple, but the results, life-changing. Let's break it down, and you might find one of your own spending traps. So here's what happened. By cutting out these 5 expenses, I went from saving 10% of my income to 20%, and I was able to reach my financial goals much faster than I had anticipated. The first thing I did was I canceled all unused subscriptions. I went through my credit card statement and bank account transactions and looked at everything that was charging me on a recurring basis. I realized I had so many things that were automatically taking money out of my account each month without me even realizing it. There were some services that I signed up for one time that continued to charge me, even though I wasn't using them every single week. This included things like a language learning app, a meditation app, a meal kit service, and a few other random things. I also found that I had several memberships at different places, like a gym that I hardly ever went to, and an online course platform that I had forgotten about. I kept only one entertainment subscription, one productivity tool subscription, and one other subscription that was kind of miscellaneous, but really helpful. I could have easily justified keeping all of those subscriptions by saying I use them at least once a week, or maybe I'll use them more in the future. But I decided to take the approach of cutting everything that I wasn't using on a consistent basis, and I committed to reevaluating my subscriptions every 3 months. So far, I've saved over $70 a month by doing this. The second thing I cut back on was eating out. I used to go to a takeout place near my office almost every day for lunch, and then grab a coffee from a coffee shop every morning on my way to work. These small daily expenses really add up over time. So I decided to start bringing my lunch to work every day and making coffee at home. On Sundays, I would meal prep for the entire week, so that I wouldn't be tempted to order takeout when I got hungry. It took me a few weeks to adjust to eating the same thing for lunch every day, but eventually I got used to it. I don't even think about takeout anymore when I know that there's a delicious meal waiting for me in the fridge. I still eat out occasionally, but now it's only for special occasions, like celebrating a work accomplishment with my colleagues, or having a nice dinner with my friends. On average, I would say I've saved about $200 to $300 per month by cutting back on eating out. Next, I stopped impulse shopping. Before I made this commitment, I would browse Amazon and online shops just for fun. Even if I didn't plan on buying anything, I would often find myself adding items to my cart and checking out without really needing them. To prevent this, I deleted the Amazon app from my phone, and I made a rule to wait 3 days before buying anything that wasn't on my grocery list. The 3-day waiting period gives me enough time to consider whether I really need the item and if it's worth the cost. This strategy has helped me avoid emotional or boredom-based purchases, and it's eliminated a lot of wasteful spending. Since I stopped impulse shopping, I've saved hundreds of dollars that I would have otherwise spent on things I didn't need. Another area where I saved money was by shopping smarter for groceries. I used to go to the grocery store once a week without a list, and I would buy whatever looked good to me at the time. I would also buy generic brands because they were cheaper than name brands. I decided to start planning my meals for the week and make a strict grocery list that I would take with me to the store every time. I switched to using store brand products, which are just as good as name brands but cost less. And I made sure not to waste any food by eating leftovers or getting creative with using up ingredients before they went bad. For example, if I had extra rice, I would make fried rice. Or if I had leftover chicken, I would make a chicken salad sandwich. This strategy has helped me reduce my grocery bill by about $100 to $150 per month. And finally, I drove less to save more. I used to drive everywhere, even if it was just a short trip. I would drive to a nearby store, even if I could have easily walked there. I would also run errands during my lunch break, which meant that I was driving back and forth from work multiple times throughout the week. To save money, I started walking to places that were close by. If I had to go to a store that was further away, I asked my friend if I could carpool with them. I also combined my trips so that I wasn't using gas unnecessarily. For example, instead of going to one store and then coming back home, I would make a list of all the things I needed from different stores and group them together so that I could do all my shopping in one trip. Additionally, I sold my second car to cut down on insurance payments and maintenance costs. This was a big decision, but it saved me a lot of money in the long run. Now I only have one car, which is much cheaper to maintain. If I ever need to use a second car, I can borrow my partner's car or rent one when necessary. Overall, I've saved thousands of dollars by driving less. So there you have it. Those are the 5 expenses that I cut out to save more money. You might not have to cut out all of these expenses to meet your financial goals. Instead, choose the ones that will have the biggest impact on your spending habits and financial situation. Remember, small changes can make a big difference. So start with just 1 or 2 of these expenses and work your way up. It's important to note that while cutting expenses is crucial, it's also important to increase your income if you want to achieve financial success. Now that I've redirected the money I've been saving from these expenses, I'm going to tell you how I do that in this bonus section. When I realized I was able to cut back on the 5 expenses I talked about earlier, I knew I wanted to put that extra money to work for me. So I set up automatic transfers to 3 different accounts every month. First, I put a portion of my savings into my emergency fund. Having an emergency fund is essential to being financially secure. It gives you a safety net in case something unexpected happens, like a job loss, an illness, or a car accident. With an emergency fund, you won't have to rely on high-interest credit cards or loans to get you through tough times. Plus, it gives you peace of mind knowing that you're prepared for whatever life throws your way. My rule of thumb is to have 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses saved in my emergency fund. The next account I transfer money to is my index fund investment account. Investing is key to building wealth and growing your money over time. By investing in an index fund, you can take advantage of the benefits of the stock market without having to actively manage your investments. Index funds are a great option for beginners because they're relatively easy to understand and they offer diversification, which can help reduce risk. I personally invest in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund through my brokerage account. I contribute to my investment account regularly, and I'm focused on growing my investment portfolio for long-term financial security. Finally, I put the remaining portion of my savings towards my long-term savings goal. This could be anything from buying a house, paying for your child's education, or funding your retirement. Having a long-term savings goal gives you something to work towards, and it helps you stay motivated to save money. I use this money for any major purchases that I want to make. By setting up automatic transfers, I'm able to consistently save money without even thinking about it. It's the best way to make sure that you're always putting money aside for the things that matter most to you. By cutting back on the 5 expenses I mentioned earlier and redirecting the money I saved into my emergency fund, investment account, and long-term savings goal, I'm well on my way to achieving my financial goals. If you're looking to save more money, try implementing some of the strategies I've used and see how much of an impact it can have on your finances. Just remember to be patient and consistent, and over time, you'll see the results you're looking for. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.